Welcome behind the bar. Paul Starr, brought to you by William Hill, the proud sponsor of the World Darts Championship. Last Friday in Barnsley, Simon Whitlock landed a 9 darter and walked away with Players Championship number 19 with a 6-4 win in the final over Chris Dobie. On the Saturday, Benito van der Paas claimed his third Players Championship of 2016, beating Chizzy 6-1 in the final. Of course, on Sunday was the Grand Slam of Darts and a World Series of Darts qualifiers. And on this week's show, I've been joined by no other than the Encyclopedia of World Darts, Richard Ashdown. How are you doing, Richard?
Hello, Paul. I'm fine, thank you. Are you well?
I'm very well. Busy as always. A 5:01 show. Oh, Richard, this is quality, proper dart stuff there.
Yes. Yeah. I hope Winmore forgive me, but their shirt's in the wash.
Oh, dear. Oh, hey, look, I've got mine on. So at least one of us has made the effort. So, Richard, last weekend, Simon Whitlock hit a 9, won the Pro Tour number 19. I'm not saying he's back to his best, but he's really starting to, he's winning events now, and I think that's a couple of Pro Tours recently, and we know how good he is, don't we? And that's good work from Simon.
Yeah, if there is a good time to get into form, I think is it going into the autumn. And you say he may not be back to his best, but I think Simon believes that he is. So Simon Whitlock could be one to watch in the next few events coming up.
Yeah, and he's, Benito van der Paas, and that's his third Pro Tour Players Championship of 2016. His throw is a little bit unorthodox. You wouldn't coach it like that, but he certainly knows where the trebles and doubles are.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's his throw or not, it's the concern about how the darts go in the board for me, but it seems to work for him. He's getting very used to winning, is Benito. So Big Ben going well. Yeah,
and of course the qualifiers for the Grand Slam and the World Series. But this weekend, of course, we have the European Championship, which a certain Michael van Gerwen has landed the last couple of years. I think he was like 10-7 down in last year's final against Gary, and does what Michael does. You never know that he doesn't know when he's beat. But he's clear favourite for this, and you can't argue with the bookies there, really, can you?
Oh, not at all. I mean, if you're going to use the Euro Tour as a gauge, which it truly is this year, it is through Euro Tour performances alone that get you to the European Championships. So if you use that as a gauge, he is by far the dominant player going into the European Championships, and I wouldn't bet against him winning another one.
No, that's for sure. Obviously, Phil, it's interesting because I always look at what the bookies say a little bit. In the Taylor second favourite, Anderson third favourite, Taylor 7-2, Gary 6-1. Would you have Taylor as second favourite at the moment? Would you say he's the second best player in the PDC?
Well, I wouldn't read too much into his defeat at the Grand Prix in the first round. I think maybe the bookies are going off the back of just how well he played in the Champions League of Darts. He was absolutely brilliant. Maybe there's a risk, like the Grand Prix, of him getting caught out early on. It's a short format in that first round, best of 11, isn't it? So that's maybe where the risk is, and he's going to take on Alan Norris in the very first game, who's just won the last Euro Tour event. Yeah. So that might be the stumbling block for Phil. Yeah. I think his odds overall are probably about right, but it's that first round that's the dodgy one.
Yeah, and you say looking at the draw, because we mentioned Simon Whitlock, and I think he's got Michael in the first round, and that's why he's like an outside at 66-1, because you don't. But then again, if you're going to beat Michael, it's probably best to take him on over 11 legs, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the three you've mentioned have all got really tough first round games. You've got Van Gerwen against Whitlock, and you've got Gary Anderson taking on James Wade. So maybe that's where the odds come into play as well, because that in a best of 11, that's a flip of a coin.
It is.
Wade's the seeded player. Anderson obviously hasn't played so much Euro Tour, so he's come in unseeded and drawn the machine in the first round.
And say Wade at 28-1, but hey, Steve West 125-1. Hey, what about that now? He's been great, hasn't he, over the last month or so?
Yeah, his confidence is high, and that's what it's all about, I think. Travelling the circuit as we do, there are so many capable players. It's all about the players that are feeling good. And Steve has just had a great new management deal with Modus, and he's winning more than he's losing of late, and the confidence is up. He's been a great player for a few years, but the confidence is up right now. So maybe he can do some damage again at the weekend.
Yeah, and because he'd done a business over Phil, didn't he, in Ireland? So hey, that's got to be great for the confidence. Oh,
absolutely. But again, his first round, he faces a guy in Yella Clarkson.
Yeah.
Tremendous form. He was really unlucky not to win that last Euro Tour event at the weekend against Alan Norris. So Jelle Klaassen really is one to watch going into this tournament as well.
Yeah, I was doing an exhibition with him last week and he was fantastic. And I quickly mentioned... Yeah, he is. When he hits that double 18, he is unstoppable. And in that, just go on about exhibitions, but in that last week, Chisnall beat Lewis 10-1 in Norwich, and the leg Adrian won was the only leg he saw a double. Chisnall, I reckon, 120 average, something like that. He was unbelievable. So he's playing well as well, isn't he?
Well, people say don't read too much into exhibitions, but you and I both work on the circuit. I was with both Adrian and Dave at a charity event in Stoke for the Donna Louise Hospice, and Dave Chisnall again was sensational. Missed double 12 for the 9-darter, and he beat Phil Taylor and Adrian Lewis on the home turf in Stoke. So Chizzy is really playing well.
Yeah, so Chizzy at 16-1 could be the value. And if we look on a few weeks, because we mentioned that coming into the autumn, the calendar is absolutely rammed. What a great time if you are playing well. The Players' Championship at the end of next month, we won't see the great Phil Taylor there. Maybe the first ever PDC event, because he just hasn't been attending the Pro Tour events.
No, I mean, he's fortunate to be in the European Championships. I say fortunate, I mean, he won a Euro Tour event, so you don't do that by luck. But it was the only event he played in to get him in. Barney tried the same sort of thing. He needed to reach the final, and Barney's missed out at the European, so has Adrian.
Yes, of course.
Phil's turn to miss out for the Players' Championships. It is a shame, especially that there are 64 players there and Phil's not amongst them. Yeah. It's disappointing, but from Phil's perspective, he'll be getting himself ready for the World Championships, and I'm sure he's not going to be too downbeat about it. No,
that's correct. So is this the start of Phil? We can see not entering a lot of these. We said that Terry Jenkins said on last week's show, at the end of the year, or the World Championship at the start of next year, that could well be it. Concentrate on the exhibitions, which is another sad thing. But they've been doing it for so many years, and as you know, the travelling is so grueling, isn't it?
I think Terry and Phil, though their ages aren't too far apart, are in different positions. For Terry, maybe it would be better for him to pick and choose rather than retire completely from the tour, maybe just lessen it down. I think for Phil Taylor, he's going to be in contention in the TV majors for years to come. And maybe it's the right thing for him, especially the Pro Tour, just to stay off of that. We won't see him in the Players' Championship any longer. And I think he feels the same about the Euro Tour, but certainly he's going to be a contender in the majors next year.
Yeah.
And it might do feel good to build up to the big events only. Time will tell, of course.
Yeah. Perhaps
it's always the factor, as Phil was telling us.
Yeah, that's true. Perhaps we can compare Terry and Phil to Serena and Venus Williams, picking and choosing. I don't think I'd ever say that, really. But
yeah, I think that is the first time I've ever heard that comparison.
I think that.
But it's an interesting point. It's a good one, actually, about the tennis. Because in tennis, the top players have 4 Grand Slam major events to build up to. And then they pick and choose for the rest of the year. Darts now, and it's to its credit, is saturating. There are so many events. Yeah. We're just back-to-back now for the next 3 months for TV events. Yeah. Which is a good thing for darts. It's wonderful. But for the very top players, they are going to have to start picking and choosing, pacing themselves, maybe cutting back on exhibitions. It's their own personal choice. But it's all about being ready for the big events. I mean, the Grand Slam's right in the middle of all this, and players want to be ready for that. It's a great time of the year, isn't it?
It is, and the qualifiers I mentioned earlier on, qualifiers for these events, the World Series, and especially for the Grand Slam. If you get into the Grand Slam like 1 or 2 have done, they've got 3 games guaranteed on Sky Sports. What a wonderful carrot that is at the end of a few legs of darts on a Sunday afternoon in Barnsley.
I was thinking exactly that when I was looking at the results, and you have a player like Brendan Dolan. I think he won through in a deciding leg, didn't he, to get to the Grand Slam. He's already qualified for the World Series finals. Just winning that last leg has given him, as you say, 3 matches on the Wolverhampton stage at least on television. It was a huge, huge weekend for Brendan Dolan. Well done to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Richard, thank you so much for that. Thank you for your time and looking ahead to what's going on and what's just happened in the world of PDC darts. And hopefully we look forward to seeing you in the next few weeks, if you don't mind.
My pleasure. Busy time to come. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, mate. Well, great to catch up there with a great Richard Ashdown, and thanks for joining us on Tonks and Tells, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. Like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter, and join us next week on more Behind the Bar Pool Star, brought to you by William Hill, the proud sponsor of the World Darts Championship. We'll see you then.